Someone's looking at me now. You're all right, love. How's it going, darling?
Exactly.
You good? Welcome to Mek Sense with Melzy, where we make sense of the world we live in through real culture conversations. Who has it all figured out? Definitely not me. So let's make sense together here on Mek Sense with Melzy. On today's show, we have a very fantastic guest. He is an ex-footballer. He is managing one of the biggest mentoring companies here in Birmingham. He's an entrepreneur, a family man. Marlon Walters.
Thank you very much.
How are you?
Good, really good, no complaints, man.
No complaints.
Yeah.
I know when we initially met was years ago, but tell us a little bit about our first interview together and where we were, just to give the audience some context.
Yeah, but at the time,
Yeah.
my oldest daughter was embarking on a musical journey, so
She was.
I was just supporting her on that and trying to help her in the best way I can, as a dad would. And I remember when the BBC reached out to they wanted to do an interview and have a discussion about some of the music she had made and some of the success she had through her songs on the internet. And then when I came, the interview was with yourself. It was with you. Yeah, and funny enough, a guy that was with me at the time as well, Ash, he says, I know Melzy, she's good people.
Yeah, big up Ash on cam.
Yeah, man, big him up, man.
Big him up.
Man. That's my guy. And and then we had the interview with yourself, which was, for me, very enjoyable. And I always remembered you from then. But actually, personally, from that time meeting you, I personally kind of followed your journey, like social media wise, of course.
Yeah.
And for me, it's a positive experience, especially like, my daughter going in and she enjoyed it and she enjoyed that experience. Because sometimes I think when you go into new settings, even as an adult,
Of course.
it can be daunting, man.
Very daunting.
You know what I mean? Especially big corporate settings like the BBC and stuff, and obviously meeting yourself made that whole experience.
I appreciate that.
So it's good energies from the off.
So cute. And she had so much energy. So we've got a range of topics to cover today because I know you've been through such a huge journey. But let's just start with like your upbringing. What was life like growing up for you?
You know what? In terms of my household, I've all the siblings. I'm the youngest out of 6 siblings. My household, being the youngest, was pretty. I have to say good. Quite fortunate. In what my
The
mum.
baby.
Yeah, I was the baby at the time until my nephews come along. I was the youngest, pretty much protected by my older sister and my brothers. In terms of a young man having everything you kind of need in the house, I certainly had that. It was nothing I could look back and say. But if I'm being honest, there's a little bit of aggression towards one of my brothers from my old man, which I look back and, it's traumatic when I look back. But, apart from those things there, as a young man, I can't complain. My mum did amazing, and to be fair, to a certain extent, my dad did as well. So, but householders wise, coming outside of the front doors, you hit with your usual challenges. In Birmingham, as a young black boy growing up, back then you had the roadman there, the drug dealers, and the gangsters there, who, in all fairness, everyone in my house made it clear I'm not too.
Get involved.
Or get involved in any of that.
Yeah.
But I was growing up in Bartley Green, so a lot of racism back then. Tons of it. I was getting racial abuse from primary school, to be honest. But not in a sense where I don't want to give an impression like I was cornered in a room getting called.
Of course. But it doesn't like... I feel like sometimes when we talk about racism, we do sometimes dumb it down because it wasn't that bad. It wasn't like... Yeah. Do you get what I mean? Like, what you would expect. Racism is racism.
Yeah. And it's only when you get older you realise that, even little things, just imagine something like Kiss Chase back then.
Kiss Chase.
Chase.
My
Remember that game? But that's as far as I can remember as well. Like, you're playing Kiss Chase and then you'd have like... The white girls would like say, you're not allowed to kiss me because you're black. And you look like chocolate. And my dad says I can't let darkies kiss me and stuff like that. And these times I wasn't even chasing no girls to kiss anyway. Before the game even started, I was always told. And then you just hear like...
Little things.
Even like... I remember one time a teacher, his name was Mr. Smith, and he was making reference to my hair and like touching it. So, look, well, I was spongy, but you know what I mean? That's in front of the class and that, you know, it's a bit embarrassing. So yeah, it had to do with like racism within the community and in my senior school and stuff like that. I remember standing at buses and he called all kinds, man, black this, da, da, da. So yeah, a lot of racism going on, I'm not going to lie. And that, to be fair, the only time I was ever physically confrontational was due to being racially aggravated.
Yeah, and obviously defending yourself.
100%. I mean, we only kind of knew one way back then is like, you know, if he was getting racially abused, it generally turned into a fight.
He's squaring up.
100%.
Remember the days where you used to square up?
Yeah, like 100%.
It's different now. Nobody squares up. People are bringing out tools. It's crazy.
No square up now. If I was now, I'd probably dead.
Yeah. 100%.
Because back then, I remember a friend called him, well, a good friend of mine till this day. He'd deal with it in one way. He was like, no, we're not having that. So when we see them, it's like, it doesn't matter if there's a group of them, but I'll be honest, it was fists.
Of course it was.
Do you know what I mean?
I remember having a fight with this girl, yeah. What is her name though? I think it was Laura. And I remember us having a fight and she was a little bit older than me. And because I experienced some racism and stuff growing up and that, like rubber lips, you know, that kind of stuff. And me and her got into a fight and she beat me up, right? If it was to happen today, guys,
be a different story, yeah?
Different story, okay? But she did kind of beat me up. And I remember going back home and I was crying to my dad, like, I've just got into a fight, this girl beat me up.
He sent you back out there?
Sent me back out there. And he was like, do not come to my house and tell me that someone's beating you up. Go back out there and go and fight. And that's crazy. Like, now I look back as an adult, I'm like, that's crazy because you would not be able to do that in this day and age. No way. I did go back out there. I was throwing those hands. But I'm a lover more than a fighter anyway. But yeah, like, it's mad.
That was our
upbringing
and our survival mechanism. Like, my mum was probably the most aggressive person in the family, as much as she was the provider as well. If I had racist abuse, she'd tell me to defend myself and try and go and defend me. I'll be honest as well, that my brothers would go and handle a lot of stuff, so I was quite fortunate having big brothers.
Yeah,
at
me
the
too.
time.
Yeah.
Sometimes my one brother, he would make me go back and then have a fight, but with him overseeing it.
Wow.
My other brother at the time, my older one, he'd just go and deal with it, to be fair.
That's crazy.
But then you get to the age when you're senior school and it's not kind of cool to call on your brothers anyway.
No.
So just ended up scrapping, and that's kind of the reason I was quite fortunate. I got into some martial arts, some Thai boxing and stuff.
Okay.
And it just gave me a lot of confidence to
right.
deal with those kind of things. Because it was regular, man. It was regular, and the only kind of way it stopped was due to us being physical about it. And believe me, it's nothing I'm going to sit here and act and say like, yeah, I was tough and bad man and all that. I was actually, any time any of them circumstances happened, I was nervous, man.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I'm saying? I was nervous.
I don't like confrontation. I just don't like it. So tell me a little bit about the martial arts then, like, because that's quite a disciplined art form.
Yeah, I just got into it as a kid. My brother was doing it. He was doing taekwondo at the time. I kind of looked up to him at the time, and then I wanted to kind of almost copy him, but I didn't realise actually when I prolonged it and got involved in it for a longer period, it gave me such a confidence, a physical confidence, and it gave me a discipline to a certain extent. It just gave me that little extra composure, which helped me in the long run, because when I got into the whole football thing, you know, I was still experiencing racism and stuff, but you know, I had a lot more composure when I left school to deal with it in the right way. But it was a big part, man. I can't talk about my development and not talk about what role that played.
Of course.
Because being truthful, up until a certain extent, I had a view of white people at that time. Like, I was over here with us and they were over there with them. So I probably had one white friend. And, you know, I never would even have considered having true white friends or relationships. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? But as
there's a level of trauma, isn't it? Like, it's like a level of trauma, and it's like sometimes like it's a level of trust. I think we've all been there where we've been like, I'm not really too sure whether I can trust this person based on historical context and things that I've experienced.
Correct, yeah.
But I think as you get older, it's almost kind of like you have to take every individual as face value.
100%.
Because you can meet a black person that's absolutely fuckery to you, and family, friends, or do you know what I mean? So it's like you do have to take people as
you do. You do,
but
man.
also protect ourselves as individuals.
Of course.
Because we know what may come from that.
100%. And I think that's such a key point as well, because growing up, when I started playing football, my greatest mentor at that time, from 15, I'd probably say to 20, was a white gentleman called Keith Downey. He's my football coach, and there was a white guy from Quinton, and he played for Wolves. He's a wonderful coach, but actually a great mentor, stroke leader. And he was explaining, I was getting a bit of racial abuse when I went into Wolves.
Really?
But, coming from Bartley at the time, we only knew one way.
Yeah.
So I was approaching my racial situations at Wolves the same way.
Right.
So I was taking off boots,
ready to scrap.
fighting and that, and
Really?
it was like the Irish guys and some of the Welsh guys are making like black jokes. But if I'm going to be totally honest with you, I'll be deadly serious with you. They were not being racist to me, to upset me, to get a reaction from me, to hurt me. They weren't attacking me. It was a few jokes, and now I understand they were uneducated at the time. Because we're all young, and they're coming from what they're coming from.
100%.
Do you know what I mean? So I took Keith to explain that to me, and he was explaining to me, look, when you hear things of that nature, I know it upsets you, but we've got to deal with it the right way. Can't go around fighting everyone. And he says for two reasons. One, you might hit the wrong person, and the repercussions can be great. You can get yourself beat up badly.
Yeah.
Two, in football, it's not going to be accepted.
No.
This is not the boxing ring. This is not martial arts. This is not street stuff. This is football. So if you think you're going to fight everyone, it's not going to be accepted here. So you have to appreciate they've got to develop. You leave them to me, but they're here just like you to develop.
Yeah.
And that was a massive learning curve for me. And listen, I'm friends with some of them, man. I went to Belfast the other day. And my boy Johnny Steele, Northern Ireland lad. And if he heard anyone say anything racist to me, and he's a white guy, he's to kill people.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I was looking at him like, what? Where I'm from?
Yeah.
That weren't happening. So it was just, when you are open enough and mature enough to give everyone a platform at least to have their say and give you a piece of advice, it can be very powerful, because he was very influential to me. He's taught me a lot. And then when my nephew became a footballer, and he went on to become the England under 21, under 19s coach, and he rang me about him, and he had no problem, no hesitance to ring me, and he come to me because he knew I'd become a level-headed person, a sensible person that can pass information on correctly. So, but yeah, man, I just think it was it's a mad part of my life.
I think it is, and I think it's just like it's that whole situation of like you can meet certain friends that are like anti-racist, like they will call out any racism if they see it, and it's like those are the individuals that are going to have your back. Those are the individuals that are going to ride with you. Do you know what I mean? Because, like you said, anyone from any colour can be offensive or be disrespectful.
There's pockets of racism in every culture. There's pockets of racism in black culture, in the white, in the Asian culture, the Jewish, the chocolate. They've all got pockets where there's a part of them that don't like.
Don't like it, It
is what it is,
And it's a generational thing as well. Correct. So it's like, unless you get out of that ignorance, there's no point even entertaining the conversation.
100%.
So let's talk about your football then. What position did you play?
Defensive midfielder. I was an absolute animal, man. I was so aggressive, man. Super aggressive, man. I was very athletic, incredibly fit.
Yeah, because you're quite tall and slim. You've got a tall, slim look.
Yeah, I was really, really fit, and I was very, very aggressive. I think that's why I got progressed. There was a lot of players that were technically better than me. They could do better things with football than I could. But one thing about me, I was first in, I was last out. You could kind of call me manager's pet, because I acknowledged what I needed to do. I know I needed to work harder than everyone else, because I wasn't as gifted as everyone else. I was good, but I wasn't gifted.
But do you feel like you had to work harder than everyone else because you are black? Because I know that's something within our house where you have to work harder than everybody else, and I find that it's true to a certain extent.
At the minute, I mean, I think a lot of black, even till this day, a lot of black families say that you're going to have to work doubly as hard.
Yeah.
Let's be real, we live in the UK. The UK is 86% it's white. And we live, it's, have all the business, and, we're going to have to do something to get on par or get in. Truthfully, I felt when I went into Wolves, I don't think I had to work harder than anyone else because of my colour. It was already instilled in me that anywhere I go, I'm going to have to work harder than anyone else. But I'm going to be honest with you, Wolverhampton Wanderers was an important part of my development because it's the first time I felt inclusion. I never felt inclusion at school. The only time I was included at school is come sports days or going to run for the school against other schools, football. You know, I could do something the same as anybody else, and I'll be the one sat out. You know, and I was told by 2 teachers. Her name was Jenny Roslin. There was another teacher. It was a male. I can't remember his name, man. But Jenny Roslin was an English teacher, and for some reason, just because I'm dyslexic, and I wasn't. To be fair, I wasn't diagnosed with it till I was 27. But she thought it was okay to say to me, "I will end up in prison."
This is a message to Jenny Roslin. This is the second time I've had to send a message to a teacher at school about how they're disrespecting our young kings and queens. Like, Jenny, what are we doing? Why are you, putting bad energy on a man like Marlon? And look at him now. And I bet you need him at your school, right? I bet you need him at your school. It's crazy how, teachers don't understand the importance of instilling confidence, self-esteem and awareness to young people. They have such a vital job for every young person. It's I don't understand how they even get away with, doing certain things. Now, I do understand there's a lot of pressure as a teacher. You get children that are a little bit naughty, but you've got to develop those skills. You've got to work with that child. Every child is different. I couldn't sit still at school. I was pretty naughty at school. I couldn't really sit still. I liked more the creative stuff. But it took a handful of teachers to sit down with me and work with me one-to-one to get through certain things. Otherwise, I wouldn't get through school in the first place.
Yeah, listen, teachers, I would think if you're not into kids, then you really shouldn't be teaching. I know it's a job and it can be a well-paid job and stuff like that, but for me, teachers are contributing to the growth.
Of course.
You spend more time at school as a young person, and I'm just they have to be very mindful of what they say because it does have a huge impact. I'm 40 years old and I'm talking about it now, and I'm working with young people. I wouldn't dream of saying that because sometimes that young person needs a glimmer of hope, and it could be in the form of that maths teacher, that English teacher, and then it's just bam, that person just says, they have no idea what I'm going on with it.
Right.
They have no idea what I'm dealing with outside. Obviously I have a slight concentration issue. I have a negative relationship with pen and paper them times.
Yeah.
Excellent in my physical
of course,
abilities. I was doing really well in any sport, whether it was rugby, golf, whatever it was. But yeah, I think for someone to say that, it's
just wrong.
It's so
every
disappointing.
child is so different. I had a teacher called Claire at college. Claire, if you're watching this, I've been meaning to get in contact with you for more than 10 years now, so please find me. Claire was my drama teacher at college, and I worked with a young boy, and we were basically teaching. I was basically doing an adaptation of This Is England, which is like a hooliganism.
Watched it, man.
Ties. Brilliant. So, and this guy really struggled to kind of be a racist because he was a sweet boy. He had that little boom, but
I remember that film, man.
but had that kind of hair, and found out he got bullied, and I had to use kind of emotional memory to kind of support him and say, listen, use that to be this character. You are just playing a character. And I did really, really well at college when I was in something that I really enjoyed.
Correct.
Right.
Yep.
And Claire was like, you should go to London and work with disadvantaged young people. You should go to London and go and pursue acting and do certain things. And I was like, what? I can do that as a degree.
Just pouring positivity to you.
And from that day, I applied for university. It was late as well. Late. I think I applied through clearance. That's how late it was.
Okay.
I applied. Within 2 weeks, I got a place in London. I'd sorted out my accommodation and I literally moved from my hometown within 2 weeks. And if she would never have said that to me that day, I don't think I would be who I am today.
So I mean, and this is what I'm saying. It's so important. And parents, we got to play a role as well, knowing who we're putting our children in front of.
Right.
But that is the importance of people in life, community as well, but especially in education, because we have to be there. The ones that want to pour positivity into you, they can actually change your whole life.
Yeah.
But the ones that do say that negative things, they can have equally the same, if not a worse impact.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? And I just think they got to be mindful of that and be very careful about who we put in front of our children.
That karma's going to come back around. So
probably has. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
You know the thing is, I'll be honest with you, I'm not even mad at her.
No,
I'm just glad I showed her.
Yeah.
She wants to do any research on myself. You know, I'm a huge success. You know what I mean? Compared to what she fought. I mean, she fought for. By the way, I was a non-violent kid in school. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't one of those kids. The only time I was, like I say,
if I needed to defend myself.
And also to defend bullies. I wasn't into that. Kids that would look disadvantaged or look scruffy.
Yeah.
None of my friends that were popular and stuff, they could never
do that.
I will get in issues for that. I'm not into that at all. You know what I mean? But apart from that, I wasn't. The problem I had, I grew up in a household. I'm 12. The next one above me is 12 years older than me. Everyone's big people.
Yeah.
So I almost felt like
I can talk anyway. Yeah.
So I could talk, but I wasn't going to let anyone. You know, I used to have this thing. I'm not going to let you really talk to me like that because you're a teacher. I don't agree. So I'm saying I don't agree. The end. Do you know what I mean? But because I would argue in that way, I wasn't swearing because I grew up in manners. I was too afraid to come out of my house and not have manners because I know I was waiting for me if my mum heard I didn't have manners out there.
Yeah.
So I always had manners.
You gotta have manners.
I argued on a level. I'm saying, so you're saying that. That's not what happened. If you think that, that's up to you. But I'm not agreeing. Well, if you don't agree, you can stand there. Cool. Phone call to my mum's ex. Sometimes dad would lick me, whatever. And it's just difficult, man. You know what I'm saying?
It's mad.
And
it's crazy because I feel like a lot of us got beatings growing up. There's a different kind of discipline in that kind of Jamaican household. And sometimes I kind of look back and I'm like, raw, like, you know, you could have like sent your parents to social services. If you actually deep the level of beating.
My dad would be locked up before he hit my brother and that. He'd be locked up.
And I don't really condone any violence whatsoever. But it made me fear my dad. Not fear him in a way where he's going to batter me, but fearing in the way of if I do something wrong, there's going to be consequences for my actions.
Yeah, I get you know. But you know something, I'm probably a bit new school now because there's too many, I think, especially in the black culture, there's too much abuse, man.
There's too much.
I'm sorry, man. There's too much abuse, man. My mum was massively abused growing up and it affects her to this day. She's in her 60s.
It goes from generation to generation.
It goes. I'm lucky because I was the last one.
Right, we're like the last ones if you actually think about it. But I think also their upbringing, when you're raising 10 kids in a household, how are you supposed to control all of those 10 kids?
Understood.
If you know that those 10 children are going to go out and experience racism or experience certain things, because it would have been so different for our parents than it was for us, even though we still experienced it, but it would have been like next level.
100%.
So I just think it was all
stress.
Yeah,
it's all stress. Listen, we can't. Listen, no one has the instruction
right
manual.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
One thing I will say though, I've got no interest in my children being fearful of me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd rather them be disappointed.
Yeah.
That I'll be disappointed because at the end of the day, I want them. I'm a big advocate for. I want to support them in whatever they want to do. Because if you think about it in our culture, that's not always been the way. Like we've always been told, you know, go work, go work. You know, you could be talented, you could be great at the books, you could be a go work.
Just go to work.
You know, we never really supported
what we wanted to do.
Yeah, even forget the fact, even as a culture, we don't support. You know what I'm saying? And that's still something we're trying to master today, which we're still way behind, unfortunately. But you know, and I'll give my missus massive credit. She made me look at things a bit different. I'm more on the leading by example. Communication, but I have to appreciate some of the mistakes they're going to have to make.
Yeah.
And if they're doing things that we're not raising them to do, there's going to be a level of disappointment. But I'm not on the fear because I'm just not on it, you know, because I feel there's
you can't do that nowadays.
I think, and I think we, like you said earlier, if we did continue on that one, we would get locked up anyway.
Yeah.
Because if you think about, you know, there's bouts, isn't it? The culture of the bout, the broom.
The bout.
Guarantee there's some of your friends have had the plate.
I never had the plate.
But someone you know has had the plate.
Someone's had the plate.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Or like when there's an ornament.
There you go.
It's crazy, yeah. When you actually look back.
And he's actually trauma.
It's trauma.
And I'm not looking, my house will forever
really
be
bad.
a trauma-free house. Because I grew up with seeing some traumatic things, but it was almost a norm. I work with kids now. So when kids are explaining certain things, it's taking me back and I'm thinking,
How did you get there?
Racism for one.
Yeah.
You know, when I'm actually running and fighting with my heart beating. To my friends, yo, man, I was going up. Nah, man's deep down scared. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, watch my brother get certain licks, which I just thought, that ain't right.
It's not right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
And how it's affected him growing up.
It's different.
And I don't want to affect my kids in a negative way growing up. I'm not here to, don't get me wrong, I'm not here to friend up my kids. You know, it's not king vibes and princess vibes and queen vibes every day. There is discipline, but I'm lucky I can discipline my kids with if I raise my voice.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I don't click their hands.
Yeah.
Course,
you know what I mean?
You know what I mean? But I'm not.
You're not going to get the belt out. Yeah, I'll probably do like the stern voice.
Yeah, that's more me.
So take a step back then.
Yeah.
You're at Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Yep.
You're a big time footballer.
Nah, not big time. Trying. Getting there. Yeah.
How much money are you raking in a week?
I think, well, not a lot back then. I was young, so I came through. I was captain. I signed my first deal. The very first deal I signed was £65 a week. And
Wow.
Then it was meant to go till I was 19. And when I got to 19, £155 a week. Signed that like I was... But then I was lucky. I signed a new deal. I was doing quite well because I was captain at my age and then I was captain in reserves for a bit. I was signing a new deal, so I went up to like 750 quid a week. And then I signed an improved deal and I was earning 1,200 a week. Like when I was like 18 and a half, 19.
That's still a lot of money though.
Yeah, like, you know, from where I'm coming from, you know, I thought I was flipping rich. Back then, I was trying to be like my mates who was actually made it, and you know, like an idiot, I was trying to keep up with the big boys and stupidness like that. That was the following mentality in me. So I had that period where I went from being a follower as well.
Tell me about that.
I think it's for some reason growing up, my house I was the youngest, but everyone was older. So when I went into school, I only chilled with one or two people in my age, but we chilled with the oldest. So from year 7, I was chilling with year 9s, year 8 to year 10s, year 9s, year 11s. By the time I was year 9, I was a popular figure, and I always was still seeking something older for some reason. I was just stimulated by bigger people. Like I was that kid that if I was lucky enough to be in the room where my mum and dad and all the big people are talking, I liked it.
You're in the conversation.
Until I got... I won't talk.
You're in our big people... Why are you in our big people conversation?
I get licked up. No way, man.
Marlon, sit there and listen to big people conversation.
I actually enjoyed the level of conversation. I did. I was stimulated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? More than being my own people.
Yeah.
So, like, I always felt like I wanted to be around olders. But to be around olders, you know, you have to bring something to the table.
You have to bring something to the table.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, it was the same with football. I was moved earlier. I left school a little bit earlier with football. So I was playing with under 17s when I was 15. I was around the big guys. All of a sudden, you know, puberty's hitting. You see hair under arms, and them days, and people having showers and they're naked. And back then, I was like keeping my boxers on. I still wasn't as confident as I thought. So I grew up again another notch. I was moving like a bigger man, them ages. So when my friends was coming through, I was kind of like the bigger man to them. But that, even when I signed my deal at Wolves, I was playing with the reserves, but I was trying to be like the mans that I made it. I was, and then I'm spending all my dough, you know, trying to be some baller, and also. Money management was non-existent because I was never told about how to deal with money.
Yeah.
And also I never had it. So therefore, when you see that pay and you think,
spend it.
Yo, man, them come. Yo, we're going out, kicking balls, doing a little mugging as well. So, you know, my brother was very familiar with town. So back then the Zulus had all the doors. So getting into a club was no problem. VIP was no problem. I was playing ball. I was a good person. I was well-mannered, well-respectful. So I was never having any issues. So being on my boys, paying for everything. Trainers.
Yeah, because there's a lot that comes with football. It's the girls, it's the money.
Yeah, man.
It's the... I bet you had lots of girls as a footballer.
I was active, man. I'm not going to lie, I was active. When I was really active, though, when I look back, you know, after I like my son and all them things, you scale back and I look at things. And I'm going to be deadly honest with you. I, at times, was sexually active to impress my friendship group. 100. I won't do it now. Ridiculous. When I look back, it's ridiculous, but I'm definitely telling you now, they'd be get out and then you'd be thinking, all right, if I do a thing with this girl, I know I'm getting ratings from the boys.
Wow.
So sometimes I couldn't wait to go back and say, oh, did a thing.
Yeah.
Never tell people outside of my circle.
Of course.
Just my little friendship group.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Is that like a normal boys thing though? I think it kind of is, you know.
I don't know, because my circle at the time was a football circle.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a football sports thing, like lads, I did a bit of it, and all that stuff. And I definitely was trying to impress my boys, which was, you know, I understand now. Sad, but I understand now.
Very sad.
So that was the following thing, like, you know.
We apologise to all of the girls that Marlon...
I was good, I was nice though.
Marlon was very nice too.
I was always nice. You see me?
You were,
You see me?
Marlon.
No, seriously.
Of course you were.
So my mum kind of threatened me. If I ever am disrespectful to a girl, or if I ever go in a girl's personal space, if I ever go in a girl's bag, if I invade their privacy, if she ever hears anything,
She's cussing you out.
yeah, like, I'm really fearful. So I was almost kind of scared to ever speak to a girl in any kind of disrespectful way. So I would never have cared if that girl, no disrespect to any person, if I was number 100 for that girl, yeah, I would never disrespect that person and make her feel like she's this or she's that. Never, I would never do that. So I was always decent, I must say. I was always respectful. But yeah, man, I was doing things really just to, even like when I got paid, I'd see what they wear and I'd think, I need to have a name brand across my chest or my trainers to feel some form of acceptance, And I was going broke for that stuff. Like, I was literally 2 weeks into getting paid, give my mum 250. And then, I'll tell you now, going into the third week, I can't wait for payday. Do you know what I'm saying? These times we live at home. I got no mortgage. I got none of that stuff.
Seriously.
So yeah. So it comes with its that following mentality, which I had definitely for a 2-year period of my life. Definitely, even probably longer.
So you left Wolverhampton Wanderers. You went over to America. Tell me just a little bit about the experience.
Yeah, America was great. I went over there to prolong my football career. To be fair, when I left Wolves, because I was there from age 12, I left at 21, so it was like a huge life. Yeah, and I met really extended family there. They helped raise me. It's a wonderful club with wonderful people. A wonderful community family club. Brilliant place. So it knocked me. It really knocked me. It's my first real setback. And then so I went to America. I did have options to go to teams in the UK. But for some stupid reason, I'm thinking, because Wolves was in the Premier League at the time, for some stupid reason I thought I should be at a better club than the clubs that were offered. Stupid. But anyway, I went to America. I loved it there. Loved it there, man. Wicked. America's wicked, man.
Is it good?
It's just a place, man. It's just
because they have a different type of football over there.
Yeah, I mean, the football quality at the time wasn't great, but the lifestyle
Was better.
Is wicked. And being a British-born person, Jamaican heritage, we dress a bit different.
They love the accent.
Love the accent. Love how we dress.
Swag.
You're just made to feel they're just a lot more hospitable.
Yeah, they are.
And the contract extension wasn't for me. I wasn't earning much at all. I was lucky because I was getting my accommodation paid for by the club, and I was kind of being ferried to training and stuff. But I was left with pennies, man. But on the outside, I was having a great experience.
Yeah.
So I'm glad of it. But I came back and I just did semi-professional football. Then I just played for Bromsgrove, Hensford. And good money for a second job. You know what I mean? It was it was all good. And then
I was going to ask you that. What team do you support now?
a club called Etifak in Saudi Arabia.
That's a bit random.
My nephew plays for them.
Really?
Yeah. So Blue Nose, locally I love Blues, man. But I've always, truthfully, because of the footballing culture at Man United, I always love watching Man United. But in Birmingham City is my team, man. My nephew came
I
through them.
support. Arsenal's my number one team.
Mm-hmm.
That was just more hereditary from my dad.
Yeah, Ian Wright, isn't it?
Ian Wright. I used to love watching football Ian Wright days, but my kind of second team's Luton. My cousin Amari.
Bad.
Seeing him playing football from such a young age.
He was at the Blues.
Now.
So I met him.
Seeing where he is now is just crazy.
It's amazing, man.
And Luton have been doing absolutely amazing this year in the Premier League.
And he's been a massive figure.
I just love the energy of football. Like, I love it. I love getting a beer. I love having banter with the man dem. I love the shouting, the singing. I love the energy of a football match.
Football is
it brings people together,
it
whether you like it or not. It brings all of the man dem together.
It does. It brings all communities, all cultures. No one cares about your background when you're playing football or sport,
unless you lose. Because if you lose,
if you're in England team, if you're losing, you're black. I know.
That was crazy. What happened to
England? Though, who's surprised? Come on,
that was nuts. That was his name.
Rashford.
It was Rashford,
Sancho, and Saka.
I'm
not desensitized to it, but it's part of my son's growing. Part of me educating my son. Racism's involved. Do you know what I mean? I have to explain to him about what he may have to experience, what he will experience, and how to best deal with it, and the consequences of if he wants to deal with it in the way that I thought I could back then. That isn't going to be the way. I will never do it. You see now, I'm so sure of myself. I'm so relaxed. you know, no other human's going to make me do anything I don't want to do.
Yeah.
Don't care what you say.
Yeah.
Nothing you say can make me get out of character and jeopardise my freedom.
How long did it take for you to get there? What age?
Late 20s. Becoming a dad. Becoming a dad. Because before I'd be like, wanting to deal with it in every physical way possible. But, you know, when you're working with young children and I'm passionate about what I do, I wouldn't jeopardise going into schools and working with young people just to prove a point to one person.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I am now that person that will say, cool, man, I'll call police if I'll do it that way. Because I'm not going to put hands on someone.
I need my DBS.
I need my DBS.
I need my DBS.
Clear, clean. And also,
like, no gap.
I have to set good examples
and boundaries.
Yeah.
So tell me about your son. I know you had a child when you came back from America. And was that your first child?
That was my first child, yeah.
Tell me about that experience and kind of like what happened.
Yeah, so, yeah, man, I remember it, man, every day. So I remember at the time, with my partner at the time, was having a disagreement, nothing new. Having a disagreement at my mum's house. And after the disagreement, whatever, she went up, my son went down for a nap. And she went up and then she just screamed. Ran downstairs and, he wasn't breathing at the time. It was only 3.5 months. And then I remember running down the stairs and my mum taking... In fact, it was my dad first. First time I saw my dad uncomposed in my life, so that was a bit weird. And then my mum took the baby off my dad, went into the living room, put him on the floor and resuscitated him. And then I seen his eyes open. And then I seen him slowly close. And then I remember the ambulance was just taking ages. And then, the ambulance came. You know, I was literally sitting, I mean, you're sitting there now, rocking forward and just watching my mum do what she's doing. My mum was so relaxed, so composed, where all the chaos was happening. And she just kept doing CPR, eyes open.
Oh, my God.
Eyes open again, and then it closed again. These times, ambulance didn't come.
Oh, my God.
So, yeah,
How long
man.
did it take for the ambulance to come?
Oh, God, like 20 minutes or something, man. Do you know what I mean? It felt like forever. And then, in the ambulance, we was all in there, all these wires coming out of him, and they were trying everything, then got into the hospital. Then it's like a movie, you know, when you only see it in the movies where they got the thing on the chest and we're doing all that to him. And then, just pronounced him, died, and that's heartbreaking at the time.
Did they say, like, what the main cause or anything?
Natural causes. Yeah, the autopsy. Natural causes. Just said he died in his sleep. His heart gave up on him in his sleep. There was no suffocation. There was no sign of struggle or anything like that. And in a nutshell, that was it. Then all my family came to the hospital. The priest came, prayer and all that stuff. And then, for the next 6 to 9 months, I just went AWOL, man. AWOL. No one.
Yeah, because it's like nobody wants to experience losing their child. Like, that's like a really, really tremendous thing to go through. You're never supposed to go before.
Yeah, and you're not prepared for it. You're only prepared, I think mentally, we're only prepared to bury our grandparents and our mum and dads. The days them coming, we dread them, but we mentally prepared for it. I think we understand that's how it goes. They were before us, so they go before us. So they came before us, they go before us, kind of thing. But man, after that, man, that was it, man. I went on a rampage, emotionally gone, savings gone, funeral coming, that was it. I was all right into the funeral, and then that was it, man. I was gone. I was like,
so what was that 6 to 9 months grieving time essentially look like for you?
Chaotic, man. Whatever savings I had, gone. Travelled. Travelled near the end. I was going out. That's an era when I was sleeping around. I don't know what I was looking for. I don't know if it's comfort. This wasn't to impress anyone. This was giving the green light almost to anyone that had showed an interest, which is something I'd never done. We all have our preferences, but I was vulnerable. I don't know how to explain it other than I was vulnerable and maybe seeking just any form of comfort.
Any form of comfort, yeah, of course.
Do you know what I mean? And then travelled, had a house. So I remember my mum sitting me down saying, do what you need to do. Don't worry about your mortgage. Just do what you need to do. And I literally did that. Went and bought a car, got new clothes. Don't know what I was doing. I didn't actually know what I was looking for. That's when I became a bit more confrontational. Like, I was always very happy, people kind of like me because my personality was
yeah.
always, you know, you're good and nice to meet. I was always well mannered, but I went to a bit different then. I was very like confrontational, where normally wouldn't faze me. Family members, friends of friends. If I was out, I'd be like, you know, hearing something, I'd say, oh, I heard you said something, man. You got something to say? I'm right here. If you want to talk, or if you want to go for a walk, we can see who comes back. And stupid, dumb things like that. And that's just me not handling my situation properly.
And you're grieving as well. I feel like sometimes we don't give people enough grace when they are going through something really, really traumatic. We've not got a handbook on how to deal with that.
Yeah.
There's no handbook on how to deal with bereavement. Now, when we're talking about losing a child, like, whoa, I couldn't even imagine going through that.
It's tough, man. It's tough. It's, you know, for some reason, I don't know what it is, when you have certain experiences like that, I don't know what it does to the brain, but it switched me off, you know. It literally switched me off from whatever you thought I was prior. And I'm just not the same guy. And, you know, luckily I just did a bit of travelling towards the 8-9 month period. And these times, I'm not paying no bills. It's my mum. So I'm not doing nothing. I bought a new car. Why? I don't know. BMW at the time. So I went away, I travelled, and the defining moment for me, my friend from India was getting married. Dav, lovely human, and I went to India for 2 weeks, and I was isolated. And I'm talking, they have no electric in the house, and everyone's sitting around in a circle, congregating, getting to know each other.
Wow.
And I'm in a village, Punjab, and all the people in the village are coming up to my face and touching it because I'm not used to seeing. I never felt like I wanted to push anyone or anything. I just felt I'm okay, I'm safe. And I remember going to the Gold Temple, and that's where even me naively, even though we grew up around a lot of Asian people, I didn't know the difference between the Sikhs, Muslims and stuff. So I went to the Gold Temple and understood the history of why they have a separation.
Right.
And then I remember this kid coming up the stairs like this because his arms and legs were cut. And I just remember looking at him, and then I got my phone, called my dad at the time. I said, yeah, I'm ready to come home. I've seen a lot. I'm going to get my life sorted.
Really?
Yeah.
What was the most pivotal point that you saw when you was in India that really made you say, like, I'm ready to come?
There's two things. I couldn't quite understand why, when I was stopping in this house, which was a good house in the village, but it was surrounded by rubbish. Like, I'm talking just picture bin bags being emptied and stuff.
Wow.
Like, just bags of bins and poverty. And I was in a nice house, and there was what do you call him, a servant? Yeah. And the servant was doing that to feed his family. And then I went and played some football with them, and they were playing with their bare feet. So I remember just giving my trainers and stuff. And then it was the temple, when I sat on the stairs, when I went to the temple, and I seen the kid, and he was just laughing and stuff, but he had no legs and no arms. And someone said to me, that's called organised crime. They do that so you can give to him money. It's a trick. It's organised crime. But he was smiling, and I was like, if he can smile,
Why can't I?
what am I doing? And I did actually say, you know, yeah, I've lost a kid, and, you know, had 3.5 months with my son and that, and it was a wonderful 3.5 months. But
he looks just like you.
Oh, man. My boy, man. But there's, you know what, there's a lot of people that reached out to me and had experienced similar things, and some people that had experienced their kid being murdered and killed and died in car crash and things like that, which illustrated to me, my pain is great, but there's other people that share the same and had even more difficult circumstances. What I really couldn't shake is watching it. In an ideal world, in a circumstance like that, you almost want to arrive and hear something's happened, not actually see someone leaving your life. That's quite tough for me, even to this day. But that bit on the temple, when I seen that kid smiling, that's when I pulled out my phone and said to my dad, yeah, I'm going to come home, and I'm going to get my life on track. One thing I'm not doing anymore, I'm not rolling with my same friends, I'm not rolling with certain family members, I'm not ever going to do work I don't like doing. I don't care about dough. I just want to be happy. And that's when I embarked on the mentoring and got back in my football. But I didn't play for a team where normally, because the kind of calibre player I was back then, everyone would always associate me with top non-league teams or whatever. I just wanted to go and be playing with good people, be happy. And that's it. And now I value good people and being in happy spaces.
Yeah.
And doing spiritually fulfilling work. Call it God's work. That's why I work with kids now.
Yeah.
And would you believe, funny enough, my life excelled.
Wow.
So I found somewhere, my friend, got a friend called Gadji, he had this wonderful saying about turning pain into power around the time his mum passed, God rest her soul. And that's what I found a way of doing. I use that pain, because it is painful, man. I can't lie. I sit here and say that it's all good. Oh, my day. Like every morning, it goes in my head every single morning.
I can imagine.
Do you know what I mean? But I'm cool with it. It's not like, I don't want to paint a picture like I'm in the morning and I'm feeling sorry for myself or I'm on the bed almost. It's none of that, you know.
But you'll always
just
think,
there.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I just think, okay, cool. Let's what we're going to do today about it. And I just comes in that door, goes out that door into positivity. That's my thing. I'm working with the young people. That's why I named the organisation after him, and it's just legacy thing now. You know what I'm saying? So
it's amazing.
Yeah, man. It's all good, man. Like I'm very, very blessed, you know, because I have to give. I mean, I don't rock with my dad, but I have to appreciate what role he played.
Yeah,
he was comforting for me, and I'm always going to be grateful to that. But my mom, different class of a woman, because she, we think about me and how it affected me, but it's her grandchild as well, and she brought him to life twice. Do you know what I mean? And we don't talk about things,
right?
So I actually wonder, like, how even now, how does she really feel about it? But yet,
so you still not had a conversation with him,
because we don't talk, do we? That's the problem in our family. We just don't talk. So I make sure with my kids, man, I'm a talker. My nephew, me and him talk. I think we're the generation that started doing it. Me and my nephew are close. My sister's son, Damari, the one to play for, plays pro. He's me and him a type, man. He's like, I love him like a son, man. Oh, I'm only 12 years older than him, so But we talk. I mean, we get deeper, and if there's an emotional problem, I run come. Or if I have a problem, I know he'd run come. But as a family, we just don't do that. But in my family, in my house, we talk. Me and my missus talk.
Yeah, because I do feel like it's that whole upbringing that we have where we just have to get on with it and deal with it quite quickly. Because there's more to get on with life. It's that whole thing of not put up and shut up, but like, okay, this has happened now. We've got to get on with it. And again, that probably just stemmed from back then, slavery, racism. It comes from somewhere. It's not just there like this. It comes from, you still got to go out and deal with more of this.
Yeah.
So essentially, if you're not going to deal with this now, you're not going to be strong enough to even stay in this world.
That's the thing.
That's where it comes from.
100%. And I'm not on it, I'm new. Call me a new school, man. I'd rather talk about it because
it's important. I don't want about it.
Yeah, man. Imagine all it took is a combo, and then someone's still here. You know what I'm saying?
One conversation.
She saw it takes, because the fact is, like you say, getting softer in some ways. We lose something. Every generation we lose something, don't we? But if you think about statistics about suicide and things like that, all-time high. And a lot of it is because everything's internalised, man. Everything's internalised, and you're going to have a breaking point. At the end of the day, as strong as you are, as strong as the strongest person is, if there is an avenue of release, they will have a breaking point.
100%.
And that could be...
You just build it up. You build it up.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So tell me about your mentoring program. Award-winning mentor, Marlon.
Thank you.
Award-winning mentor.
Thank you. First, I did voluntary 4 years. So, it was in me. Anyway, I wanted to go and engage. I knew I could engage with young people in ways that teachers couldn't. Some parents couldn't or wasn't allowed to. And I knew what position God gave me to go in and navigate and what role to play. So I went in with the sole aim of giving young people a safe space to speak about whatever's affecting them, whether it's a sexuality thing, whether it's a cultural thing, whether it's an educational thing, whether it's a community problem, a household problem, sexual abuse, gang culture problem, whatever it is, you can talk to me and we can try and find a safe way on how to navigate through it. My key was I wanted to make sure that whatever choice a young person made is me giving them an honest evaluation of the good and the bad of the choices they make. So if you want to go on badness, I'm not knocking you because I don't know what drives you. I don't know what pressure you're on at home. I must give you a true reflection of what that looks like. If you want to go on this, I need to give you a true reflection of what I think that looks like. Anything I didn't know, you resources.
Yeah.
So I've never been in on this gang stuff. I've always seen from a view.
From a view.
Yeah. One of my brothers was heavy on it. Some of my friends are heavy on it. I was never in it. It didn't interest me one bit. But I know people, my uncles was heavy and whatever, so I'll draw to them and say, look, please, give this young person a true illustration of what you have to go through. Not just what you've done, but the repercussions. Not just the repercussions on your family and you, health-wise. Let's talk about the legal repercussions as well, but also the mental repercussions, living in paranoia.
The PTSD.
Looking over, come on, man. You know what I'm saying? All those. And that was it, and that was my sole aim. I wanted to be that person that could have a discussion with first and foremost. And that started with like me seeing one or two kids, and then I remember I had a class of 10. I was in a class, a mentoring session, and I was putting things together. And keep in mind, I'm dyslexic, so the idea of typing and writing and putting programs together ain't my thing. But I found a way because I was passionate about it, you know what I'm saying? So ego went out the window. My friend that's been to uni, or my friend that's just better with words, I need you.
Right.
Come sit with me, help me design this, because this is what I'm looking to do. And I did it, man. And then from there, it was just me one. And then now it's grown to, what I would say, one of the go-to organisations in the region, for sure.
Where do you think schools are going wrong when it comes to building relationships with young people?
I think there's a couple of things. The things that kind of stand out for me is, I'm a massive, whatever you achieve and what you've had to achieve academically, I understand that it takes a tremendous amount of discipline. So it's almost like I feel that they're almost so educated that they lose the community element. And not everybody has come from probably what we have come from, a community environment. Like sometimes I feel like the council estate, right? I know it's poor, it's poverty, I understand that, but you had such a unity.
Family, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think when the kids...
You can go to Auntie for our sugar, and you can go check Bob
Ketchup. Loaves of bread. You know what I'm saying? Milk.
Yeah.
Your mum says, can I buy some milk? I used to knock my mum's door, can I buy some milk? My mum would send the milk.
Yeah,
that's gone now. But,
it's gone.
But you know what I think as well? It's like, imagine being a kid that you are. Let's use your traditional kid, council estate kid. You're going into a corporate environment, which is school. The people above you will shirt and tied and speak a certain way, and they're not really used to a kid like you. And I just think what schools could do is incorporate just a few more community-orientated people just to help the community kids along the way. And know, because sometimes some kids, the only decent conversation or decent environment they have or access is school.
Yeah.
But, imagine being in a certain type of household. Let's just say it's violence. Let's just say it's a parent that F's and blighs left, right and centre. It's a house that's just full of noise, a crowded house. And you go to school and, it's a different environment. Sometimes it's like overwhelming. So like, how do I navigate here? Like, this is freedom. I can run now. I can scream now. I can act up or whatever. You just need someone that understands their language, or a language they understand, where they can just feel themselves. I think sometimes what teachers lack is just that ability to
relate
and build a bridge. Like I've seen kids go up to teachers and try and firm them. And I've seen teachers say, we're not friends. Put your hand away. Where an older school man might say, yeah, because we're not friends, I'm here to teach and you're the kid. Manners, I understand that. I look at it as like, Jesus, you've just missed a great opportunity to build a bridge.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. That, all it takes is 2 seconds. So it's adaptability to me. It's almost like, rappers, as they get older, they have to adapt.
Yeah, their story changes, what they want changes, what they speak about changes, their journey changes. The lyrics naturally change.
Exactly. Yeah. Like it's everything, dress code changes, fashion changes. Certain areas like that were once almost well-to-do, things can seep into them areas, can become drug areas or gang areas, and things change, and we all have to adapt. And I think sometimes the education system's so rigid, man. They're scared to adapt, but at the same time, working in so many schools and having such great relationships with teachers, I know they're under a lot of pressure, and sometimes because the parents
are not always helpful.
Yeah, and they're a lot younger now, so they're dealing with pressure in a different way than our parents would.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? So,
because our parents would go down to school and be like, yo, don't disrespect the teacher.
But
the teacher
that's changed now.
Yeah.
The parents going down to school in a flash to confront the teacher.
That's crazy.
Where I would, if I have an issue with a teacher, my daughter or my son will never see that. I would talk respectfully in front of my child. My child goes out at that door. If I have a problem with that teacher, me and that teacher have it then. I don't display. negative behaviours onto my
Because
children.
I suppose if you do display that behaviour in front of your child's going to say, well, if my mum, I'll get home to come down now and just cuss you out. Because they know that they will.
And that happens a lot.
But then I think what happens with that is they miss out on, if you can't go through the parent and you can't go through the child, that child is not going to get the best education.
And this is why now you understand how important a mentor is.
Yeah.
Because, and I appreciate that. I think it's a privilege for a start. And I think we have the opportunity to go in with a different toolkit, have different conversations. We can go and talk, all right, what's going on? And that kid could say, you know, starting to have sex, you know, my body's changing, I feel strange, I'm smelling, I think I'm gay. I like black boys, but can't go home with my mum and my dad there. With a black boy, they'd kill me, my granddad would kill me. Black boy can love off white girls and can't go home. There's so many things that we have a discussion I've had. We've had guns given to us.
Really?
Yeah, told us where guns are. We've had numerous amount of knives given to us. We've resolved so much conflict within the community with parents and rival gangs and stuff. Yeah, child exploitation is massive at the moment. It's huge.
It's like children are not even being protected.
Yeah, and it's starting as, you know, in terms of recruitment now, it's starting as young as 8 and 9 now.
Seriously?
Yeah, any kind of thing or human that can go under the radar, but they're accessible. You know, kids. As a policeman who's going to stop a 9-year-old, a 10-year-old, 11-year-old, it's very unlikely. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, and
it's getting that young.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. We're doing a lot of early intervention work, and this is based off kids being exploited at such a young age. They're worried about how much it's going to affect them as soon as they go into senior school, because they think it's going to be greater. And we've dealt with, honestly, the spectrum's A to Z, from suicide, self-harming. When you're talking about the gang stuff, we do a lot of trauma response stuff. So if there's stabbings and killings in certain areas, the schools will contact us and ask us if we can come into the schools just to help calm things and give talks and assemblies on things.
How do the kids kind of react to that kind of situation?
Some of them, you know, some of them's their friends, innit? And some of them, pockets of the schools, they want revenge. They've told us openly now, our boy's been killed or our boy's been stabbed and stuff. So we're doing a ride out, and this is what we're looking to do. And you know how it goes. Take one of us, take one of theirs. Kind of, you know, young kids talking like that. It's unbelievable. We have there was an incident when there was a stabbing outside of one of the schools in Birmingham in Aston, and there's 3 stabbings, and one was left in a really bad way. And it took myself and another mentor, Zeeks, we were mediating with like both families to try and call a truce. And one was from one side, one's from the other side. And the one, because of the experience that he had from being stabbed up, he was like, look, I don't want no more. It's done. The other kid was like, okay-ish, but it was the dad. The dad was like, nope. You know how it goes.
Seriously?
It's my son, and they tried to kill my son. So he's going to get what's coming to him. I don't business. I'm sitting down with him as a man, grown man. I'm saying, look, you know, at the end of the day, they both have contributed to where they are. They're both living. So if you go and do whatever you got to do, not saying you can't, I'm not saying you have no right to feel like you want to do that, but there's so many consequences. So he was like, look, I respect you, but I don't business.
Seriously?
I'm raised a certain way, that's my son.
Seriously?
So the young man will get what's going to come for him when the time comes. Now, that's the parent, man. You know what I'm saying? I remember getting in my car, just phoning one of my senior mentors at MW Impact, and I was just like, look, that young man's just going to have to probably leave Birmingham because their dad's actioning things, and it is what it is.
That's crazy.
Because that's the thing, you know, I would look at it, if that was my son and he managed to survive something like that for whatever reason, I'm praising God he's alive, first and foremost. And what can I do to avoid that? If that means we have to move. Exactly. If that means I'd go to the parent and have a discussion as men, as parents, and say what needs to be done. We sit them down, make them know they have to coexist, whatever it is. I'd be doing that, but not everyone is like us, and we have to also appreciate when you're coming from something.
It's a bit different.
You only know one way.
One way.
If you're not open to evolving and developing, because at the end of the day, development takes an element of loss.
Of course.
You have to take, how many hours have you took on your journey?
Hours. Yeah.
How many disappointments have you had?
Yeah.
In order to be what you are now?
Yeah.
Where I'm just like, okay, cool, man. I'm just so, the ego's so out the window. I'm so like, that could be my kid. I'm not, you know, if I'm going to behave like that just because I'm all right, or I know who, or I know that, or I'm confident, doesn't mean it can't happen to me. If I'm going to disrespect someone doesn't mean I'm exempt of the repercussions of it. So I'm kind of trying to explain this to the gentleman. Because I even said to him, I said, okay, so listen to this. If you're going to action something to my kid, I said, let's talk off record. Come on, let's talk. And I know you're actioning something. Do you think, as a dad, I'm letting you walk? And he says, you know, I saw it going it. If I were, as I was talking, you know what I mean? So I get it.
I don't know why I'm so shocked by that.
But you get it, innit? That's
but I get it. But I don't know why I'm so shocked that it's the parents
I think it's ego, man.
But it's ego.
His kid, innit? Am I picking that? And, you know, and I get it, but I'm just like, boy, I'm not saying this.
You wouldn't want your child to, like, go back into that environment. But then if you're a parent and you're from that environment and you've come from that and that's all you know, you don't really know anything else.
And this is why I'm saying I like being around the right people. If I'm in a moment like that, I think the people I'm around
is important.
He's going to say, come on, let's think.
Fix up, let's think about it, strategize, logic, what's going to make sense. But I think because some people, they want to walk into the negativity.
Yeah, I think they're more comfortable there, unfortunately.
Yeah, they are.
And that's what it is.
Easier for them deal with.
Confidence, and this is what I'm saying when I was like coming up, I had to lock off certain people because they would almost like come alive if they had a smell of confrontation. Yo, man, is my man looking at you? And I'm like, no, he isn't. You sure, bro? Yo, he's looking like, I'm like, okay, but he's got eyes that can look, I feel fine. You know what I mean? And then they're the people I had to kind of stay away from. Wow. Not because they're trying to ride for me. It's a beautiful thing. But when you get to a certain age and you actually don't get in no nonsense.
You don't want that.
You don't want that. We're trying to evolve and we're trying to progress at it. And it's...
Someone's looking at me now. You're right, love. How's it going, darling?
Exactly.
Good.
This is what I was saying, and I think that's
ego. Like you said, it's all ego-driven.
Yeah, but it's just where do you want to put it, innit? I'm ego. I've got ego, but you see what my ego is when I'm with a young person, I want to be that young person that I want to be when he talks about me. Yo, spoke to Marlon today. He just motivated me. I feel that's my ego, but I'm like, yo, you know, I want to inspire. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. While I look appealing enough, or I don't look like an old fogey to them, and I'm not at one point I'm not going to be so appealing or fashionable to a younger person. While I want to give as much as I can. And so a lot of people will just think, oh, we do mentoring in schools, and we're getting people in class and we're helping them manage education. But there's a lot of community stuff. We do so much stuff outside of school with kids that don't go to school. And we're just trying to make sure we have a positive impact on the future, man.
Because you've got kind of like a out of school kind of service that you provide kids that they're not educating themselves in schools, right?
Correct, yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we just have little pockets and bases where schools, when kids are not going into school, we just try and put out some provisions for them. So we do a lot of DJ workshop work, boxing provisions, mentoring provisions, and just helping kids get some form of education. So there's a lot of kids we work with are not actually in school. So we get them from their house. We do all their interventions outside of school and take them back to the house after. So they have something and some... mixing within the community and have an understanding. Actually,
I've got things to do. I need to go somewhere and do something.
Exactly, and it might not be school, but you could be practically able to get into that job, and all you need is this, and then we can try and provide them that little. This it could just be a little ASDAN qualification or just a little upskill on maths and English, and all you need is a pass. Don't necessarily need the A or that, it's numbers now, isn't it? But if you can get like a 3.5 or 4, just get over the line, then all of a sudden you have access to income, then your life can change. You know what I mean? Then you don't have to do anything silly. So we do a lot of that stuff, man. That's crazy.
Do you feel like social media has played a big part in terms of this generation's communication skills?
Yeah, it's running the show. I think what kids are, you see with social media, young people are always reminded of the things they don't have. So all of a sudden, if you think about it, when we were coming up, I know we sound like we're old fogies now, but we were not so... I hear myself saying these things when we were young.
When we were young.
But if you think about it now, this generation now, they are so desperate for money. They're not legally allowed to work. But have you ever seen a group of 13, 14, 15-year-olds that want to earn money so bad? So the people with the wrong intentions are having a field day because they're like, every young kid wants to earn money, bro. So we're going to run them this and make them run that. So for social media, I'll go to schools, I see kids in, obviously it's not real, but they're wearing this Louis Vuitton, they're wearing Gucci, they're wearing Armani,
crazy.
All the name brands to school.
I don't even own Gucci yet, guys.
Do you know what I mean?
What?
But the difference is if you want it, you've got the means to get it, and you don't have to jeopardise your freedom to get it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now these young people are so desperate for it because they see it on social media and they just see the end product, But they just think, yeah, I need to do that literally to take a picture to get validation. There is such thing as social media validation. The positive thing of it is that the quieter person, the more introvert person, has a platform to be heard.
Yeah.
Because there's been some beautiful things on social media, you know what I'm saying? So, but he plays a huge role in what's going on for sure. Yeah.
I absolutely love all of the work that you do, Marlon.
Thank you.
That's so amazing.
Thank you. Got a great team, you know.
I know you've got a
MW
great
Impact
team.
is full of great people.
MW Impact. Go
great
and check
people.
them out.
Thank you.
Let the people know where they can find you, where they can access your services.
MW Impact you can find on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all the social medias. Our website is mwimpact.com. And we're just really passionate about engaging with the young people and making positive changes and creating a better future for our community. So come check us out. If anyone needs any intervention, any help, we're there to support. This is what we do. We're passionate about it, so just get in contact.
That's amazing. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, man. It's been a pleasure.
For joining me today.
Oh,
I've loved our little meetings over the last couple of weeks.
It's been brilliant, man.
It's been so good. You're such a motivational person.
Thank you.
And you're doing amazing things. And I'm proud to see another brother doing amazing things. So thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, man. And I'm looking forward to seeing you and your journey, just keeping excelling and doing your thing and keep smiling through it, man. That's the thing about it with you. Your personality, your drive and your determination, how you interact with people is a special thing. That's what's got me sat here. That's what's got me reaching out, because your infectious personality is your unique selling point. So don't lose that, because it's amazing.
Thank you so much.
I'm rooting for you.
I really appreciate that.
No
Thank
problem,
you so much.
No problem.
That's it for the episode. If you do want to see more episodes of Mek Sense with Melzy, you can find us on Spotify, YouTube, Apple, anywhere where you listen to podcasts. And don't forget to click that subscribe button, because we want to build a community, because it's time for us to make sense of the world together. That's it from me. I'll see you on the next episode.